FaderCast.
Saturday, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. What the fuck? Jesus. 2 p.m. is 1400. Let's stay with military time. It's precise. Very good. Fuck this PM, AM shit. Get with the program, Americans, British people, whoever uses it. 1400. Precision. That's what it is. Well, today I am working on the Halloween Spooky Queens remix, and I probably talked about this earlier. I can never remember what I said when I recorded something earlier because I just recorded in the spur of the moment and then I forget about it. So as I probably said before, I am remixing Halloween Spooky Queens so that I don't just re-promote it every year. And to do that, I loaded up the old project, which for reasons unknown to me, loaded up with no problem at all. Maybe because it's only 1 year old and was made on this exact system. But yeah, it loaded really well. And I made some stems. Stems are sound files that include certain instrument groups. So let's say I made one stem for all the verse vocals, one stem for all the chorus vocals. Then what other stem did I put in there? Some synths. I didn't put any bass in there because it's very simple. Don't need to do that. Some of the, typical things like the cembalo. I don't know if there's a different name for it. It's like this very main riff thing. That's what I put in one stem. So I made this kit, or a remix kit, because I'm going to use that. If I keep remixing this song every year, I will use that every year again. So that's good. And now I'm thinking, now I have to work out what I am going to do. And the thing is, the original track is 92 BPM, which is a slow tempo. It's not a fast tempo. And I obviously want this to kind of tie into the upcoming album. So I'm thinking I'm going to make this a little faster, maybe 102, 104 BPM, something like that. I don't know, maybe a little faster. Little clubbier. Especially now that the clubs are opening again and there's going to be Halloween parties. So maybe there's a point to making this clubby so it can attract a little more club play. Although I think even the last year's version, the original version, was very playable. I mean, you just can't play it next to Tanz 2, 3, 4 or Combi Crisis, some stuff like that. But you could definitely play it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a vision for that right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw all the files into the Cubase project, all the stems that I just made, and then I'm just going to start finding out what the tempo is, and go from there. And we'll see how that sounds.
Those foggy days.
Yes, I want it.
Witch hazard mind games.
Yes, I want it.
Oh, my freaky dreams of Halloween.
Yeah, and what you just heard there is something that I'm not going to use because it sucks. I don't know. I worked on this for a while because I had no idea. And then I threw it away because it was really terrible. And I'm never going to use that.
FaderCast.
Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. Jesus, my voice. I had not said anything yet because I just woke up. I was out in the clubs yesterday, in the bars, which was fun. Funny story. I met a lady who's like a burlesque performer or something. Her name is Eve Champagne, and she has, I don't know, she's like a local Hamburg celebrity doing lots of stuff on Reeperbahn show stuff. She has like, I don't know, 18,000 followers on Instagram. So not that much, but a lot more than me. And we took a selfie, and she said, "Oh, take a screenshot of your follower count. Tomorrow you'll have a lot more." So I took a screenshot just to see, and yesterday it was 4,828. Today it was 5 less. It was 4,823. It's like, this was anti-promo apparently. Never gonna take a picture with her again, ever. Sunday, 11 o'clock. I just took a long shower, really long, which is good. Now I feel a little better. Daniel sent me the first draft of the cover, which I obviously can't show on this podcast, but I wanted to talk about how this kind of stuff goes. Usually, I would be very specific with the graphic artist and would give him, I don't know what you call that, like examples and mood stuff from other pictures or other artists. And this time I just told him what the album is about and said, do what you want and we'll see how it goes. And because he's obviously not tattooing it on somebody, he can just make mock-ups on the computer and then it's much easier to change stuff. So he sent me something and I really like it. But the list of changes that I have in my head right now is as follows. And I'm just saying this because I want to illustrate that nothing ever works on first try, ever. Especially not when you work with someone else, because there's two people who have in this case, two different brains and two different ideas. And also, we both know that this is the first draft. So he even said, "Oh, I need to work on some details, but this is an idea." So my changes to the first idea would be: there's 2 snakes on there. Don't make them look to the side, and they're currently basically one snake mirrored to the other side, and I would want them at different heights and maybe both looking at the viewer. That's number 1. Number 2 is there's like a half moon type thing looking upwards. Maybe put that at the bottom. Then there's like a sound wave thing on the outside, and it's kind of like 2 of those, and I don't like the outside one, so just remove that. And what else was there? Maybe think of a way to make this a little longer, but I'm not sure that's what I want. Overall, I'm really happy with it. But as I said, nothing ever works on the first try perfectly. But these are minor things. These are not like design changing, changes of epic magnitude or something like that. So, I'm very, very, what do you call that? I'm I'm happy with it, and I'm very confident. I'm confident we're gonna make this really good.
FaderCast.
Monday morning, 7:30. I've been up a while. Just made me some tea, and today I start mixing, which is great because mixing means it's almost done. If you don't know what mixing is, I don't know, most people are confused these days. Mixing means taking all the instruments in the song. There are many instruments: drums, bass, synth, whatever, and balancing them so that the song sounds, let's say, exciting, so that it makes sense with regards to what the song wants to communicate or needs to communicate. So if you mix a ballad and you make it sound like a dance song with drums really loud and stuff like that, may not be a good mix. If you mix a dance song and you make it sound like a ballad with the kick drum being really soft and in the background, maybe not a good mix. So you have to mix for the style of the song. And what I'm not doing is DJ mixing. DJ mixing is you take one song, you play it, and then you mix another song into the song. So at some point, both songs are running, and then you switch between the songs so that you have one long set of songs that sound like one big song. That is DJ mixing. That is not what I'm doing. That's what I meant when I said people are confused these days. These days, people think DJs are actually doing stuff. I mean, they are doing stuff, but they're not making any music. They're playing music and mixing songs into each other. I am also not making any music now. I am technically working on existing music that I wrote before, and I'm making it so that it sounds interesting, which is a little bit of an artistic process, but not really. Mixing there's still some creativity because you have to decide how loud what is where and stuff like that, but it's more of a technical thing for me, and it stops being a technical thing when I notice that I start dancing to the song or singing the song. That's for me is the sign that my mix is good or is getting good. And I said, I think in the very first or like one of the first episodes, I'm gonna try a new mixing approach, which I call what did I call it? Everything louder than everything else. I think that used to be a Motorhead song or album or something like that. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to purposely make stuff too loud for a while. When an instrument comes in, it's not supposed to be balanced. It's supposed to be too loud so that your ear is drawn to it more. We'll see. I'm not sure that works, but I'll try it. It's worth trying. I have time. Today is October the 4th or something like that. And I don't have to be finished until October 23rd, which means I can basically do one song a day. Usually I do 2 songs a day or something like that. We'll see. And I'll experiment and see how that goes. But yes, mixing starts. Love it. Wednesday morning. What is it? 10:30. I have 3 songs mixed now for the album. Plus, I did a 4th one, which was Halloween Spooky Queens, because I kind of forgot that I wanted to do that. I don't remember when I wrote the song, maybe 3, 4, 5 days ago. And then I kind of left it out of my schedule. And yesterday, for some reason, I was faster than I wanted to be, or than I planned to be. And I had time in the evening to finish Halloween Spooky Queens. And I did that. So I have mixed 4 songs this week so far. They all sound really good. I'm very happy. But what I really wanted to talk about was there's going to be one song on the album that's a little bit like Insomnia by Faithless. And by that I mean it's like one big synth riff that rises and goes down and rises and goes down and rises to the end. And it's, I don't know how long the song is, like 4.5 minutes of the same riff. And it only has one line of lyrics. So I was listening to it and I really liked the song, but I was just thinking something is missing. And for some reason, I had a line in my head and thought, oh, why not just make like a fake sample, whatever, as if it was sampled from a movie or something. And I didn't like that, but what I then did is I took the same line, which is, what is the line? What's the line? Let me read it. Oh, if you want to understand your mind, observe it. That's the line. And so I just pitched it down 3 tones, three notes, and now it sounds like this deep, dark, whoa voice. Like it's a very techno-y thing, and but it really ties the whole song together because now you can listen to it, and every time you think it's getting a little long, every time you think that, there's this very different little line with a very different voice that also gives a perspective on the song that might be completely overlooked if the line was not in there. So this is a typical example of why you should never finish songs until you have to finish them, and why sometimes one line can really make the song, or if you don't put it in, might, leave the song only 70% or 50% of what it was. This line literally made the song 50% better, in my view. I might be biased here, but I like it a lot now. I think it's going to be really big in clubs, and yeah, we'll see.
FaderCast.
Thursday, 7:30 in the morning. I am currently rendering one of the mixes from yesterday. So how this goes is one day I will mix something, and then I'll mix maybe another thing. And the next day in the morning, very early, I go and very quickly adjust the mix. So this one took maybe 15 minutes or something like that. I just listen through it once, twice, 3 times, and stop at points where something is wrong, like maybe the vocals need to be louder or too loud or something. Quickly fix that and then render it. This has the big advantage that on the first day you do all the small stuff. I mean, you also do all the big stuff, but as in like it's the other way around. The first day you do all the work, and by the end of the mix for each song, you have totally lost perspective. And the next day you come back fresh, especially if you do it in the morning and you haven't listened to any sounds before. You come back fresh, you check out what you've done, you have completely different context, not super focused on all the details, but more on the whole. And I think this might be the fastest song, not so sure. But it's amazing how this song went from, how can I say this? From it's a cool track to this is really good, through the process of the mix, because this song has a lot of tracks. I don't know how many. I can't look it up right now. But there's lots of details here and there, lots of instruments, lots of, what do you call it, like different parts in the song. And until yesterday, the song had no bass. I mean, it had like a loop that was very sub-bass heavy, and that was meant to be the bass. But it didn't work the way I wanted it to work. And I only noticed because all the other tracks before, I had mixed 4 other tracks before. So I suddenly had context about how the sub-bass and all the low sounds needed to sound in relation to the kick drums and stuff like that for this album. And all of a sudden, I was like, this sounds really empty. And so I removed the loop bass, it wasn't a bass. It was just like a drum loop that had a lot of low end. And I just added a 1-note sub bass going all through the song. And this makes it really cool. It elevates the song. And then I just added a few super simple snare fills, which just transition from one part to the other better. And I raised the level of all the riser sounds by, 5 dB. It was way too low. And just these things, change the bass sound, add 2 snare fills, and make the risers louder. That alone completely changed the feel of the song. So that's a really important thing to understand. And I sometimes get frustrated with people, even like people like Gillian or Jörg, who are very capable, but different for me, obviously, because I'm the person making the song. They sometimes have a hard time seeing the final vision in their heads, and which is totally fine. I'm not criticizing that. It's just that for me now, this sounds like it's supposed to sound, and it never sounded like that before. But to me, it was obvious before that it'll kind of be good in the end, because the initial idea was there. And I think as a musician or as a producer, that's super important to just be like, oh, this is only 20 seconds of music, but these three notes are great, and this vocal is great, and we can make something out of it, even if it sounds like utter dog shit right now. You have to kind of be able to find a core idea and then be, how do you call that? Be confident enough to run with that and try to make it. And many times it doesn't work. As in, I mean, what am I working on? 17 songs plus the EP, it's 22 songs out of 120 that I wrote in the last, probably more. So it's what is it? 1/6 of the songs? Yeah, something like that. What's a sixth? It's like 15% or something. And the rest just falls by the wayside. So that's a math that isn't very promising, as one would say, but that's how it is. Anyway, I'm very happy with that mix, and I'm gonna revisit the second song I did yesterday and see what's going on there, but I liked that very much yesterday already, so it's probably gonna be fine very quickly. Thursday night, 10 o'clock. I'm done for today. Oh, shit. I gotta go to sleep because the damn construction guys, they will be starting early tomorrow again. So I better get some sleep and wake up early. Today I was in town, going to a routine doctor's visit. And I was listening to the new mixes, and I noticed that there was a lot of sibilance and harsh consonants on my vocals. Everything sounded really good, but my vocal sound was, how can I say this? Like, there are certain sounds in your voice that can be annoying and harsh. In my case, that's very, very strong. I don't know what that relates to or where that comes from. Probably the form of your mouth or the form of your teeth or something like that. The way your tongue forms while you speak. So sounds like s or t, t, s. Those can be really harsh. And on some people, like for me, the sh, now that's really harsh. Some people have more sibilance and it sounds harsher than others, and I'm on the very harsh spectrum. So I noticed that not often, but every now and then it was very apparent in my headphones, and you won't hear that as much on speakers, but on headphones you hear it really annoyingly. And because the rest of the mix is rather smooth, because I tried to smooth the top end of the mix in a way that even if it's really loud, it just sounds big and it doesn't sound painful. That is one of the things that I was really trying to, achieve. And so what's my point here? Oh, yeah. So I noticed on my headphones that there was a lot of sibilance on only a few sounds. Because there's software for that. And I already used software to, make the sounds more, more civil sounding and not as harsh. But, every now and then there is another one that's louder than the others. And if you set a de-esser, it might just, the de-esser is the software, it might, reduce the overall high end in your vocal track and stuff like that. So I just spent the whole evening, last, 2.5 hours, going through all the tracks and not all the tracks, the six tracks that I've worked on so far, and going through every syllable. So if there's two words like just, and there would be a j, the j could be harsh and the st could be harsh, and I would see how I can make this less harsh, because sometimes there's distortion on my voice also, which makes it harsher or less harsh depending on the situation. And sometimes that means what was the line? Oh yeah, too dead. The two, the t, that was very harsh sounding. So sometimes you have to go and make two different tracks, and one track is just the harsh sounds, just the and the other is just everything else. And then you EQ and you filter out the annoying frequencies in all the sounds. And once you hear it both playing at the same time, you don't notice that. It sounds like a real singing, but the work was necessary to get the sounds to be less annoying and less harsh. So that's what I spent the evening on. It's detail work. It's really small stuff, but I've suffered from this. Suffered is the wrong word. I've been struggling with this sibilance management since the very first album. I remember having big problems there, thinking it was the microphone, didn't know much about vocal technique and stuff like that. And turns out 15, 20 years later, I still struggle with the same thing, and it's all just my voice and the way I sing. So there's probably nothing I can ever do about it. But if you listen to, what was the Britney Spears song where she sings, "It's Britney, bitch," that one, she has so much sibilance on there that it tears your head off when you listen to that loud on headphones. So this is not only me, this happens to a lot of people. And it takes a lot of work to remove it.
Beat of the week.
FaderCast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of FaderCast. If you have any questions or suggestions, just email me at contact@faderhead.com. You can obviously also find me on all the socials, on Instagram @FaderheadOfficial, and everywhere else under Faderhead. Please be a friend and tell a friend about this podcast. And until next time.
FaderCast.